Hi, everybody. This is Rosine, and I hope you know already. This is Your Story, my inspiration podcast, and today I have a guest, no, co-host, because he's gonna help me today. Slash, he's responsible for this. Yay! I am gonna let him introduce himself. Then we open your gift box gift today.
Okay. My name is Daniel. I'm from Arizona in the United States. Born and raised here. And I'm here with beautiful Rosie, and we're gonna talk about this police outreach event that we went to last week or the week before, talking about the changes to the new immigration policies here in the United States, just to try to inform everybody about what's going on here and try to break some of the fear that people might have about being unsure about all the things happening lately.
Thank you so much, Daniel. I'm glad that you are already here, and I'm glad that we were able to go to that event, that forum, because as you just mentioned, it was the main purpose was to break the fear because since like there are some new things changing in this country, so many people are living in fear or they are really worried because they are immigrant or they moved here and they don't know what to think and what next. I would say mainly that I'm gonna start by saying that one of the things takeaway that I learned from that forum is don't believe things you see in media, social media specifically. Social media is not a good source of information because people have feelings and they put anything. Anyone can hop on the camera and say whatever they want. So if you want to be informed, don't like for me, for example, I do social media for fun to see funny videos. But if I really want to get like right information about something, I'm gonna read or I would want to look up like on websites like credible sources. So social media, just be careful. I'm gonna pass again the ball there to see if we can go through some important information that we learned from the forum to just make sure that you guys are informed about new things, changes that shouldn't be affecting you if you are okay with all the documents here.
Sure. Yeah. And one of the first things that they talked about at the event that we went to was just informing people about the different types of law enforcement in the United States. There's a difference between state and local law enforcement. The police departments here in Arizona are different than the federal law enforcement, like the FBI or ICE, who's in charge of immigration. ICE is they're the organization that is run by the government that's in charge of managing immigration. And the way that they interact with people, it depends on the situation. Typically, they'll need a warrant to enter a home or reasonable suspicion a of a crime or a reason to believe that somebody might be here illegally. So just understanding the difference between the types of law enforcement and when you'll be approached, I think is a big, might have a big impact in helping people to kind of reduce their fear when it comes to interacting with law enforcement.
Thank you so much. I would add that so ICE is a separate entity from police, local police. In Arizona, precisely, they said they won't ask like your immigration status. They like their main duty is to make sure that people are safe and they just do patrolling on the road and stuff like that, theft or, but it has nothing to do with your immigration like status, how you are in this country. But I'm not gonna speak for the whole nation though. They said precisely for Arizona, which varies from state to state. I don't know exactly which states they would ask that, but Arizona, the police cares about the safety on the road and other stuff that related to safety. So that IC is immigration related things. And as he just mentioned, so that they have a paper, a letter signed, like a warrant. Is that how we call
A
it?
warrant.
A
Sure.
warrant that has state a reason why you are being involved in what they are doing investigation, which means then there is a trouble. There is a reason why they want to investigate, but they're not going to approach you if you are okay, if you don't have any problems.
Sure, and that's usually specifically like to enter your home or to investigate you. Like if they're coming out of the blue, then they'll need to provide a warrant, which is a proof of reasonable suspicion. That is a reason that they need to investigate. So you're not going to have ICE just knocking down your door and invading your home for no reason. They have to have a reason to enter your home, and they have to have documented, basically permission from the government saying that, okay, this is approved, go and investigate.
Yeah, moving on.
Mhm.
That is, I hope that is clear as crystal. Like, police department, they do their job about safety in Arizona. They're not going to ask you your immigration status. IC has another duty when there is trouble, and then they gotta have that printed stuff signed. They're not gonna just invade your personal space or, your place where you live.
Sure.
So that is something that I can assure you in Arizona. If you live in another state, then you will have to inform yourself for making sure that you know what to do. We're gonna talk about documents, what to carry with you, what not to carry, especially these days where some of the people like me, immigrants, would feel like they are in fear. What do you need to carry with you so that in case there is something happening where you are, you feel like I'm good, I have everything I need. I'm gonna pass the ball on you.
Okay. Yeah, another thing that they had mentioned is that it's really important to carry your documentation with you, especially right now, with so many people being investigated and deported. And the people who are being investigated and deported are specifically, right now, they say that they're focusing on violent criminals who are here illegally. But in order to, for insurance for yourself, to make sure that you aren't investigated wrongly, to make sure that you aren't detained wrongly, it's recommended, it was strongly recommended by the police officers and the police chiefs who attended this forum that we went to, that everybody carries their documentation with them, their green card, any documentation that shows that they're here legally. It's strongly recommended to carry that with you. Especially if you are traveling. They made a hard recommendation also not to travel if you don't have legal documents. Stay away from airports if that's the case. If you don't have a documentation to prove that you're here legally, they said that you shouldn't try to travel by plane because ICE patrols the airports. And if they have a reason to stop you and a reason to detain you, it's just gonna get you in trouble. There's in addition to that, in order to travel in between states in the United States, there's a new law that has been in the works for quite a long time, that is finally going into effect. So it's important to know that you will need to carry your real ID, which is just a new form of driver's license that people in every state will be issued by their state. So in order to travel on an airplane from state to state within the United States, you'll have to have this real ID driver's license. And undocumented people won't be able to get this identification. So again, if you don't have any documentation proving that you're allowed to be here legally, it was recommended that you would want to stay away from an airport. Also, it was recommended to carry your green card with you at all times, which I know that a lot of people are told not to do that because it's a very valuable,
precious card. Yeah,
it's a valuable document. It's precious. You don't want to lose it. But especially again right now with everything going on, you want to carry that with you to avoid any trouble if you have an interaction with the police, so that you can show that you're here legally and to avoid any suspicion otherwise. It's unfortunate that that may be asked of you, but it was definitely really strongly recommended to carry that with you. Ignore the recommendation that you got otherwise. Even though it's a very valuable document, you don't want to lose it. It's worth more to keep it with you than it is to keep it at home.
I agree with him because you don't wanna, be in trouble if you have all the necessary, like, what you need to carry on. So please, yeah, have them on you, and that will help you and keep you out of trouble. I was gonna add something else. Let me see if my brain is running really well on top of that. Documentation. He mentioned traveling, undocumented people. So yeah, now I get it. I think I remember the points I wanted to point out. So if you are here illegally, you have no document, don't travel for now. Don't use airplane. That was recommended by a lawyer, if I remember well. So I'm so sorry if you feel stuck. I'm so sorry if you feel like you can't move, but just let's take it the way it is. Don't use, airports if you don't have like any legal documentation on you, or if you think you have one because it's kind of document, but it's not, because it's not yours. It's not a real one. They said stay out of trouble. Don't present anything fake. They mentioned that. No, don't try it for your own, safety. Don't do that. Remind me something else I was gonna say about.
I think that's a great point, not to carry anything fake. They said that if you carry something fake or prevent somebody else's identification, that's even worse than not having anything with you. So even if you have something that's fake or have somebody else's information on it, don't give it to the police, because again, that's going to get you in even more trouble than you would just not having anything with you. Maybe the thing that you were going to say would be, and what came to mind for me, was that it was also recommended that in addition to carrying your green card with you, keep all of your legal documents in one place at home in a folder that if you need to, you can tell somebody exactly where it is. It's all put together and it's easy for them to find. Say like it's in the green folder, top drawer of my dresser. Something like that, easy to find.
Don't be like Rosine. Sometimes, I'm not saying that I'm disorganized, but sometimes I think, yes, I have it right there, but then I change the purse because I have like more than 10 purses somewhere there, and then it was in another purse, and then it wouldn't be easy to tell Daniel, can you just swing by my place? He's gonna have to go through all my purses, and
one of my 10 purses, yes.
Yeah. So please, it's advice to know where do you put your stuff. Like if you know it's the drawer that close to your bed, that's fine. Make sure that everything's there and ready to be picked up if you need help, a friend, a neighbor, a partner, so they know where to find those. And don't laugh at me. I'm gonna say something a little bit.
Okay.
So recently I got my passport, my American passport, and the first thing I did, I put it in a lunchbox because it's plastic. Just
okay.
in a case.
In a plastic bag?
You never know if any liquid would get there.
No, that's a good idea.
Yeah. I should get like a lockbox, more secure, and I'm planning to buy one. So if you are here and you have your dear life documents, I would recommend to have like a lockbox where you even like it's really
it can
waterproof.
Be fireproof. Yeah, waterproof, fireproof. A lot of people do that.
Yeah. So I'm glad I didn't laugh at me.
No, that's a good idea.
Okay. So yeah, a lockbox, fire, and waterproof would help you to keep your documents all together. Again, where you know that you're gonna say, under my bed, Daniel, can you please go reach out? So let's move on. What else did we talk about in the forum, and what stood out actually?
Okay, yeah. So Rosine had mentioned that in Arizona specifically, the police won't ask for your immigration status unprompted. They're not going to stop you and ask for your immigration status. But they will report to ICE if there is a reasonable suspicion that you are here undocumented. So right now there's no federal ban, as far as we could find on the internet, preventing the police from asking your immigration status. And in fact, if you are arrested for a crime and it's shown that you are undocumented, um, I believe they said that they're required to report that to ICE, to the federal government. So,
Which makes sense.
yeah. So just stay out of trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, another thing that they recommended was that if you are around somebody who gets in trouble, even so, if you're here undocumented, or even if you're here illegally, and somebody, if you're living with a criminal who's undocumented, and they come to arrest that criminal to deport them, that could also get you in trouble for housing that criminal, for housing that person who's being arrested and deported. That could also get you arrested. And then you have to deal with legal problems as well. So if you're doing the right thing, then there's nothing to worry about.
I was gonna say, as somebody who come from a warm culture where we house people, where we shelter people, hey, my African people, I'm not saying that we are in trouble or anything, but remember, who are you sheltering? Who are you living with? I'm not saying not to do good around you, but who are you helping? Do they deserve it? I mean, is it worthy to be in trouble? I understand being nice, I understand helping around, but also remember that we are all here hosted as, how would I say? I'm not saying guests, it's our second home. Just like, let's make sure that we are safe and we do the right thing. So if you live with somebody who might be in trouble, or who you suspect that they might be living a life that is not like a decent life, then stay out of trouble. I would even move out if necessary. Just find another place, but don't get in trouble, because it's not worth it. It's not really worth it.
Sure, sure. Yeah, that, or riding with them in the car. Just cover yourself, make sure you're safe, and make sure that you're doing the right thing. And that'll help to keep you from getting in trouble.
So one thing that I was gonna add on that, I'm not gonna say any names or anything here. I am that person who want to help everybody, who want really to serve because I was helped. I shared that so many times. But sometimes you just gotta, you know, look out, watch out for yourself. I remember I had trouble in the past, not trouble, but you know, borrowing car. You know, it's somebody that I know speak the same language, and then they can have my car. But if I knew that was gonna be something like hitting another car, and maybe they were doing other stuff inside the car, then the car is registered on my name. It took me a little while to just communicate and make sure that that is taken care of. It was like from a place of helping somebody that would need help, as I need help, or I would need help, but I had to make calls. I had to, stand like, you want to make that call because I wasn't in that car when it happened, and stuff like that. So just make sure that people you deal with, they are people that surround yourself with good people. If you want to help, do they deserve your help, or it's going to be a trouble? Let's move on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing, I guess, is to understand that when you're dealing with the police, if you do end up having an encounter with the police, in a lot of places, every precinct that was attending at the forum that we went to, it was the forum was with several different chiefs of police, law enforcement agencies inside of Arizona, and every one of them that was there and present, and which I know is very common other places in the United States as well, is that they all carry body cameras on them, and every interaction with a pedestrian, a random citizen, you or me or anybody, will be recorded and documented on that recording for both your protection and for theirs. So if you feel that you're being taken advantage of or something is done that's not right, all of those interactions are recorded and can be looked back on.
So yeah, that is something really great that I never paid attention to until I started watching videos here and there. And I'm glad that it's being, done because it's protection for both of you. I know that it's safe if you feel like comfortable to record on your end. Like if you have a phone and you feel like something is happening and you start recording, you have your own recording, which I totally agree. I don't know if I would remember that because I get nervous.
Sure.
I have my own PTSD, but if you are able to, you can record both so that you stay like assured they record everything, and they have to, their body camera has to be on all the time unless they are just hanging out with their peers or something. But when on duty, their camera has to be on for both protection for you and for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So moving on from the camera and stuff, when it happens that you were probably wrongly accused, it happens. I was in Walmart. They didn't give me any money to advertise for them. I was in a store and somebody said stuff on the phone and I'm being arrested saying that I stole something, but I didn't. So there is a procedure to it. And do you want to talk about it?
Sure. Yeah, the police, when they come to investigate something like that, they're not just going to automatically side or believe the person who's calling to make that claim. What they do is that they'll come and they'll listen to they'll listen to the allegation made against you. They'll try to understand what happened, but then they'll also investigate. So for Rosine's example, if you're in a store and you're accused by an employee of stealing, of theft, they'll investigate first. In places like that, there's cameras everywhere, and they're always recorded there. Yeah, places like that, there's always cameras, and that kind of thing can be looked back on. The recordings from the cameras can be reviewed to see whether or not you actually were stealing. And in those types of situations, just be patient and let the police investigate and wait for them to come to the conclusion that they come to after the investigation. And in certain cases, a person, you or me or anybody, if I was accused of a crime and the police are investigating me, and if they think that it's necessary, they might put me in handcuffs. They might put you in handcuffs. And that is routine. It's something that the police do for their protection. And it may be done just during the course of the investigation. And if you are not, if they find that there's no like reasonable suspicion that you are guilty, then they'll let you go. It's important, it's really important that if the police do decide to put you in handcuffs, that you do not resist. That's very important and very dangerous. Anybody who resists is subject to additional force by the police. They could they will use force and make you go into handcuffs, and that puts you in danger. And again, it's just routine. It's very important that you don't resist the police if they do decide to put you in handcuffs.
I totally get it if you feel like, why do they have to do that? Well, rules, regulations, it's not fair, it's not pretty. I wouldn't want to see myself like for nothing.
No.
But in this case, just don't resist for your own safety and making sure that you make things easy. There is a word that we don't like a whole lot as human being compliant, but this is what is required in this type of cases.
Yeah,
Just
everybody
comply.
has to. Yep.
Comply and just make sure that you make things easy than making you do stuff.
Yeah, comply with the police. It's very important, and it's really dangerous to do otherwise. And again, they aren't going to take you to jail for nothing. Probable cause is needed to make an arrest. If you are arrested, then they'll take you to see a judge, and it's important to just be patient through the process. If you do end up having to go see a judge, you have the right to an attorney in the United States, and a lawyer can help you to navigate that process. And if you're not guilty, then they are there to help you to show the judge that you're not guilty.
Let's also get into that lane where we are talking about uh, immigration services and deportation. In case you get deported, there are some things that that you need to know so you don't get like really so scared. These things gonna happen, and how you behave through that situation is really important. First off, if you get like really deported and you have a child, you have children, so that rest assured that you have the right to give the power of attorney to somebody else, which means
Yeah, it means that you're giving somebody else the right to make legal decisions on your behalf. So that person will be able to make legal decisions on your behalf in regards to your children. People who are old and sick might give somebody the power of attorney to make decisions on your behalf in regard to your health or your finances. But you have the option here if you do end up getting arrested or deported, and you may even want to set this up ahead of time to give the power of attorney to somebody that you trust to make those types of decisions on behalf of you in regards to your children or your property. Here, if you are deported, your children won't be taken away. They won't be taken away if you're deported. U.S. born kids are under the 14th Amendment, and they are citizens here. So they won't be deported just because you're deported. But you do want to make sure your children are taken care of. So it's important to have a power of attorney in place for you in that type of situation.
I'm gonna add that because the forum we really attended, there were so many people with so many important questions, and you might have the same questions. So if you've been wondering, like, what if I get deported? I've been in US for 20 years, but undocumented, and that time ding ding comes, so that nobody's gonna take away your property. No, there is no way. And so that you don't have to worry about your things, your property, your stuff that you have here. As whereas for the children, as he mentioned, you shouldn't worry about their safety if somebody is in charge, that you gave that power of attorney. So moving on.
One more thing I think
Okay.
we should mention, and I think we had touched on this before, but just to make sure that we don't miss it again, if you are arrested and investigated for a crime, and it turns out that you're undocumented, or if the police have reason to believe that you're undocumented, a lot of places they're required to report that to ICE. So again, just make sure that you're covered, that you're safe, and that you want to stay out of trouble to avoid that type of attention from the police. Nobody wants that.
Yeah, getting back to where there are some people who call 911 for nothing, then it gets to the point that it's really annoying. You did nothing wrong and you know it, but people are people. They're gonna be peepering at some point, because that's how we are. We are different. So if you get to the point where you are being harassed, like being wrongly accused, you have all the right to report as it, like, you are being really harassed, because whatever they are reporting is really wrong, and they don't have any ground to do that. Like,
Sure.
so that you know that you have rights to call the police, of course, to say that you are being harassed because somebody's trying to do this and that, and reporting you, accusing you for something you never done or you didn't do. So yeah, is there anything else you can think of?
If you are being harassed by a neighbor, a coworker, anybody, just because of if you may have an accent, the way that you look, that's harassment, and that type of thing can be reported. If in whatever situation you're in, don't be afraid to report a crime. Don't let people discriminate against you, and don't let people harass you just because you are if you're afraid to be in a position where you have to interact with the cops. Report a crime. Don't let people take advantage of you.
Yeah, I agree with you, and thanks for mentioning that profiling is something that can happen anywhere, anytime, and some people do it on purpose. Like you know, they are who they are, and they don't like different people from them. So that is harassment. Then you can report that. I'm trying to see. Did we miss anything? Let's go through our notes and see if we can find something that I didn't say or.
I think that we're good. I touched back on this, even though I think said it earlier. Um, but I think we got everything. Maybe the only other thing would be that if you have questions, in addition to reporting a crime, if you have questions, you can reach out to the police. You can call their non-emergency line, and they'll answer questions for you that you may have about a situation that you're in, or any action that you might need to take. Even if you're not ready to report a crime, they can advise you on what you need to do to keep yourself safe and to make sure that your rights aren't being infringed on.
What can I say? I am glad that we were able to go through all this information. It can be like maybe it's too much a little bit for now to hear all about this, but if you go through this video, watch it, and you have a question you're stuck, please reach out to us. We will try to figure out and ask around and get back to you. Also, we had like a lot of information that it was like 2 hours or something.
It was 2 hours. Yeah, there was so much information.
We can't go through all that today, but I promise if you were okay with it, we can do another part. Sure. And make sure that people have all the information they need and ask questions, because I know immigration thing can be frustrating for so many, and I totally get it. I'm myself immigrant, and I have to inform myself every single day to be able to feel at ease. So,
and hopefully you'll have more guests who are experts on this subject who will be able to hopefully you'll have more guests that can that are experts on the subject and that can give more information, firsthand accounts, and just to be more informative to everybody about the current state of immigration in the United States and what you could do to keep yourself safe.
Yeah, I'm sure I've been reaching out to people who would help us, and once I get the guests, I will definitely bring them on, because we need to be informed. And I want to really thank you for helping co-hosting this.
Sure.
It was a good experience going with you there, and I learned so much. And I also, it may put me in a place where I wasn't like worried that much, because I really I'm okay with all the stuff I'm required to have here. But I have friends around. I have people who probably still in fear. So when I learned about that, I was like, whew, my friends are safe. Whoever is an immigrant here and not sure what to do, then I'm gonna tell them. So thank you so much for staying in touch. Thank you for everything, sharing, subscribing. I'm thinking in hope that you can do that if you haven't do that yet. So next time,
you see how she just shows it off?
Since
like,
then,
all low key.
I became left-handed. Thanks to you. Yeah. See you next time. Take care. Take care. Take care. I say it 3 times because it can be really overwhelming, and this time might be a little bit frustrating. So please take care and do what you can do. Achieve your dreams. We are hard workers and we achieve dreams.
God bless.
Bye.